Spoilers, what up SuperViewers, it's Brian Ellis Clark and this is SuperViewer. I watch and react to Teefa In Trouble. I was doing this long, laborious, 12-page long notes run through of the entire movie. But then you know what happened in the movie if we're doing spoiler talk, so I'm just gonna hit the big notes. I love this movie. I love how tight it is with the storytelling. I love how not a single moment is wasted. I love how different sequences, like when the parents are scheming to have their daughter get married and the daughter is scheming with her friend to go with the British guy, are just parallel and have great filmmaking and style and cinematography and music. The music was beautiful and it doesn't waste any time. And we have such funny moments like when the younger butt gets slapped. All right, let's get into some specifics. We start off with the younger butt getting humiliated, and it's very funny. You see that they're kind of incompetent. They go up a whole building and then they have to go to another building, and then he can't stand up for himself, for his family, to get the money that they are owed, so they call in Teefa, and Teefa can get the money. But he's not perfect. He can get jumped, which is really cool. And the action is filmed on a level of like The Winter Soldier, which is really good action. I did write down that it was unfair that I had just seen Mission Impossible Fallout the day before that, because that action is like next level. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it. But this is really good action. This is still a step above. It's not some basic action scenes, and it's very funny. You get his character. He like looks in the reflection of the machete or that really big knife to fix his hair. It's very cool. And then we get to Anya. Anya is eyeing a British boy, and she has a thing for him, but she's trying to play it cool. And then she gets hit on by a couple of guys, and she has such a temper. She's kind of crazy, as she says later in the film, that it just cuts from like them hitting on her to her with her parents. She's like, oh well, this time, and then it's just like just attacking the guys. She has such spirit to her. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And the whole setup is really great. You have this girl Anya, who is a free spirit. She's a firecracker, and she is looking to make her life her own. But her parents have this idea of an arranged marriage for the benefit of the business. And they also have this friendship with the Butt family. And they've been planning to have this younger Butt, this really pathetic guy, be her arranged husband. But they have to change that for the benefit of the business, or they want to. And then that makes the families butt heads. And Anya is playing a part to go and marry this other guy who she has no interest in, but she doesn't want to do it. And then the Butt family brings Teefa in because he's their go-to guy, and Teefa wants his own restaurant, and he negotiates to get $1 million of the currency, I forget what it is, to go do this kidnapping and bring her over so that the Butts can have her marry the young Butt. By the way, I love that their name is Butt. I hope that was intentional for Butts. And then Teefa has to go over, and he's with Tony, who you see in just his first scene with how he's flirting with the girl and how he's like, are you on WhatsApp? And he changes the language, and then changes the language and changes the language. She's so resourceful and kind of slimy. And they go on this journey to kidnap her, and Teefa is going to like, he jumps a waiter to wear the waiter's outfit, and he's gonna go chloroform her, but she's already worked out with this company to help her get out of there, or her friend has, and she chloroforms herself. I love that she references that in real life chloroform takes 6 minutes to actually work, or something like that, something crazy. But then we as the audience have our cake for having her reference how ridiculous movies are, but then we get to eat it too, because she and they're like, what? And he gets out, and they have this great chase scene. First, it's great because the music keeps getting great. There's not a moment lost, and the music and cinematography are working A+. And the guards are like, close the gate, but then they get out just in time, and the guards don't have to wait for the gate to reopen, which is really slow. And Anya wakes up, and she's like, oh, you guys are my saviors, thank you so much. And she goes off, and they're like, what are we gonna do? She just walked away. Like, how are we gonna finish this? And then the original guards found her, so she has to run back. And it's just great. That was like very Charlie Chaplin-esque, running around the whole city kind of thing. Very cat and mouse, loved it. And then the getting a new wardrobe song, and the hair Zeus. Oh, I love that. And it, of course, ended with them walking off in slow motion. And then this really awkward moment where this, like, chunky white guy starts walking with, like, and they all feel really awkward, and he realizes they feel really awkward. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go off. But then they keep going, and by the way, I just want to back up a little bit and say how I loved how goofy their heist plan was. It was like Ocean's 11, but just fake mustaches, and she's just a ditz listening to her iPod. They don't expect much, but obviously, as we see in the story, she's so much more than that. But then they go, and it's a great twist that they actually get caught at the border, and everything goes to shit. There was no actual intermission in mine. I just saw intermission, and then it kept going. But that was a perfect time to put in that intermission for an audience. It's like, oh gosh, they got caught. What's going on? And then Anya kidnaps Teefa. All because, remember, Tony didn't have the ID ready, silly Tony. But she's a badass. She like Fast and Furious is this, and she's like popping up on two wheels, and she's just crazy with the driving. Oh my gosh, it's great. I loved it. And again, fantastic music. This is just on all cylinders. It's great. And Teefa and Anya have been bonding, and now they're flirting, and it's just growing naturally. It's like the category of film this is, they are doing such a great job with this relationship naturally progressing. And then Tony gets kidnapped by her parents, or her dad and his goons, and he's getting punched. He's like, wait! And they stop punching. Alright, go for it. But they break him, and Anya and Tony stay at that location where they really bond as they fall asleep together, where he gives her his jacket. And then the next day, Tony's still getting the shit beat out of him, and that one edit, these edits are spectacular, where he gets punched and then it goes into a twirling of that tower where Teefa and Anya are staying. Magnificent. And then the music is going good. The music is always good. Can I just say the music is always good and just leave it at that? It's great. And then the romance song, they get away and they're with Tony. And then they get to the British guy, and it's like, what's gonna happen? They've been showing this romance and it's been blossoming together. What's gonna happen when they get to the British guy? And it's clear that it's just not quite the same thing, and she starts singing, and then Teefa, or Teefa as some refer to him as, starts singing to her, and that's beautiful. And then they connect over their pasts, and her mother dying, and him growing up just starving at the lake. And I think she says, you'd leave all this? He's like, no, I'll keep it with me forever. And then he calls her dad. But it's not because he doesn't want to kidnap her anymore. It's as a way to like convince her to go to Lahore, which Lahore sounds amazing. But that was dirty. That was dirty, but he'll pay for it later. And they get there, and it's stunning. It's stunning. She loves it, and she says, you have successfully kidnapped me. And the Butt family shows up, and everything just goes tilty, and her whole world is put upside down. You just see it in her eyes how disappointed she is. And that whole heartbreak. And again, fantastic songs. But then he gets the million, and he goes walking around the city, and he knows what he's done is wrong. He leaves the million with a blind man, which if it was me, I would have taken the million and we would run off. But that's why I'm not on a hero's journey, and Teefa is. But he goes to his mother, and she senses that he's done something wrong, and she helps him get back to a moral center. And by the way, that one shot when he goes the next day to the wedding, it was beautiful. And I love that when he got there, she was already escaping. But of course, if he hadn't got there, she would have died or really injured herself, because the makeshift rope like unravels. But getting her to trust him with the one bullet out, I love that coming back, but the gunshot gives him away. Clever that they just go under the bed, but then as he went in for that one shot, or right before it, I believe, he messed with the kid that was out there, and the motorcycle's not working, and instead of, because the kid was like, hey, you were kind of a dick, the kid gives them away, and they have to zoom off, which was great. They get to the train, and they're about to go off, and you just see the British guy show up, and you're like, well, that's weird. Why is he here? And Teefa called him because Teefa knows he has betrayed Anya, and he doesn't deserve her trust, and he wants to do right by her, which that was the guy she ran off to go meet. So he thinks he's doing the right thing, and he goes out and he stops the families, or he tries to stop the families from getting onto the train. He thinks he's doing a good job. He gets his ass kicked. Loved that. That he's not like a superhero in his skill, but they get on anyway. He's almost unconscious. He is, and then he comes back, which that was super intense. But he goes back and he fights people on the train, and it's Winter Soldier level fighting it. It's really cool, and then it keeps going. And then they go through the tunnel, and they do these great snapshots where it's like, and I gotta remember that because I want to use that for wait for it. And then it finally, everyone's just courting Anya. It's like, come with me. No, come with me. Like she's Lassie, or like in one of those movies where the dog, they're fighting over who owns the dog, and she just is like, no, I'm my own person. I get to choose my own destiny, and that's great. I love that. But then Teefa gets shot, and she gets thrown out of the train, and he dives after her. And it was a beautiful slow motion where he's going through the water together. And man, when they were like, will you love me? Will you love me? I'm crazy too. But man, I thought he might have been dead. That was a great fake out. I really thought it could have been his death. But then, happy ending, and we cut to the credits after you see that everyone's been pulled together by this traumatic event, or traumatic series of events. And I love that the We're Getting New Clothes songs comes back, but there's a post-credits scene if you didn't see it, and I wanted to ask, it has that one bad guy that comes back in. I forgot about that, to mention that, but that was intense. Like the guy from the beginning. But is 420 shorthand for marijuana in India? Because he has the number 420 as a prisoner thing. I was just curious about that. But all in all, fantastic movie. Fantastic. I gotta recommend this to my buddy Brian, because we just filmed a 3-hour reaction to the movie 3 Idiots. He had already seen it. I've been wanting to see it for a long time. Thank you, SuperViewers. Teefa In Trouble was fantastic. What do you think about it? And please tell me what I should see next in theaters. Also, is alcohol legal in India? Because they had this whole drinking montage, and from how they were talking about it, I got the impression that it might be, but I don't know. So if you can answer that question for me, that would be fantastic. And as always, remember, don't stop.
You can follow me over on Instagram or Twitter at Brianna Dung.
And since you're here, can you...
Did you think that this was... Is
this
just
what
you wanted? Or?
Oh.
Okay, well...
Her links in the...
I'm sorry, that's so hard.